Thank you guys very much for having me here. Really appreciate it. As I said, I'm Eric Flannery. I'm a Navy veteran. I'm a proprietor of a neighborhood bar here in Washington, D.C. called The Big Board. We've been open up for about 10 years now, thanks to fantastic customers and my great coworkers. We've always been a place where everybody is welcome. In December of 21, the mayor of Washington, D.C. implemented emergency orders that required us to check people's personal medical records and mask our servers. Did a little soul searching and decided that we weren't going to do that. We were not going to participate. My servers are not second-class citizens that need to wear their masks when nobody else is wearing one around them eating and drinking, and we are not agents of the government. The reaction from the city was swift and severe. Inside of 3 weeks, my liquor license, my business license, and my health department license were removed. And given the emergency nature of how this orders were implemented, we were not given the right to appeal. Right here in the capital city of the United States of America, without a vote, under the guise of an emergency order, we were not given the right to appeal. That's just not how our government of the people, for the people, and by the people is supposed to work. It's un-American. Could we have complied? Yeah, maybe. But I have to be able to look myself in the mirror and like what I see. Thankfully, I still can, and I do. And I'm hopeful, with your all's help, that the Big Board's going to reopen. I really am. I think it's going to happen. But I don't know. It's a risk. I may lose my business. I've already lost my life savings. But I will not now nor ever participate in government-sanctioned discrimination of any kind. It's immoral. It's just immoral. I've got a couple questions. Over the last 2 years, during both Republican and Democratic administrations, governors, mayors, and other public officials throughout this country have allowed unelected bureaucrats to impose inane and arbitrary rules which systematically rob hardworking Americans of their livelihoods and civil liberties. What are you going to do to make sure these band-aids can never again be imposed? And what oversight can you exercise over an unchecked D.C. mayor and city council which have enforced these unlawful rules under the pretext of a 2-year-long emergency that otherwise shields them from congressional review?
Well, appreciate all of those questions. And again, thank you for your service. And to answer, I know Kevin Hern, as a business person and member of Congress, member of the Ways and Means Committee, has been working on a number of these fronts.
Eric, I want to say to you, I had the fortunate or unfortunate opportunity to be at your restaurant the last night you were open, and I say that with a heavy heart. I mean, I really do. If I wasn't standing in front of a bunch of cameras, I'd be crying right now. I'm almost crying right now as it is, because I know how hard you work, man. I've been there, and wow, to see the government shut you down just because you want freedom, the freest nation in the world, and you're shut down by a D.C. mayor because you challenged her. That's what this country's made of. That's what it's made of. You know, what's really troubled me is how this administration, how these Democrats have looked at business owners in America, as if we don't care about people, whether it's our internal customers, meaning our employees, or our external customers, the one that come in and buy your Big Mac. I mean, I'm sorry, I have Big Mac, that's me, I'm sorry. Your hamburgers. But, you know, when I see that, it really gives me a heavy heart when I see what happened. Because I can only think of really bad things like communist countries, as I mentioned earlier. And I thought we were bigger than that. But the problem is Americans are speaking up. They're seeing that. Because I was in your shoes not too long ago. And what I mean by your shoes, because you shared this with me that night. And you said, Congressman, I'm going to get this pretty close. You said, Congressman, I never really cared about politics. I served my time in the Navy. I got out. I just wanted to create a job, create a business. And I created this, and I just work hard every day. It was only when government kind of took what I had, that I'd worked so hard for, and took that from me. And now I had to either give up or get involved. And I'm getting involved. And I got to tell you, that's where I was. When I saw time and time again that the biggest competitor I had was not other restaurants, but was the federal government. I had the opportunity to say, let's get involved. I've had countless people, just as I'm sure you have, is why do you want to get in this fight? Maybe you can't save yourself, but you can save so many others. And I know you have garnered a ton of new friends. You've been on national TV talking about this. And I believe it's stories like yours is why we're seeing this great turnaround in America today. You know, as it speaks to the oversight of the federal government here in D.C., it's broken. We've seen what happened with, stuff as crazy as the statues that were taken down, the destruction of this great city that's under the purview of the House of Representatives of the Congress, be completely decimated of what it indicates and what it shows to people around the world, the stripping away of freedom. This arbitrary use of power. And I'll give you just a classic example. If you look around the room today, there is not a single mask on of anybody in this room. You couldn't have done that yesterday. Just yesterday. You know why? Because all the world, all the national TVs, the global TVs are going to be on the president tonight. And miraculously, the science said on Sunday, we didn't need masks today. That's how arbitrary it is. I believe it was like 2 days after or 3 or 4 days after your restaurant was closed down that it was okay to do exactly what you were doing.
That's correct.
Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad? A man who gave 10 years of his life to the military, who put all of his savings in a business to only be taken away by a dictator in D.C. It's absolutely uncalled for. It's a disgrace. It is a lack of what we're known for around the world. And we've got to stop that. The American people are speaking up. And it's not just Republicans speaking up. It's Democrats and independents who have had enough of this regime of the Socialist Democrats. Thank you, my friend.